This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
Matt, so I just got back from the trip of a lifetime. Honestly, this is probably something I'll be talking about.
Not Bakersfield.
No, I didn't go to Bakersfield.
But
Nothing
you love
wrong.
Bakersfield.
I do love Bakersfield. Buck Owens, Crystal Palace, the Padre Hotel. Oh, man.
Wow, you should work for the tourist department at Bakersfield. Because your wife is from there, right?
Valerie was born and raised in Bakersfield. She graduated from Stockdale High. That's the same high school Derek Carr, the Carr brothers.
But you are not from Bakersfield. You just got to know that community by dating your wife. Is that what it was?
Well, how I got to know Bakersfield was I moved there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I had finished. So I wanted to originally be in the Navy. And so I had applied to the Naval Academy. And I'd gotten a congressional nomination once, was not accepted to the Naval Academy. Okay, great. I applied a second time. I got the congressional nomination a second time, and then they actually invited me to fly out. The Naval Academy did, and so I'm like, okay, this is great. I'm getting in. I didn't apply to any other schools at this point. It was my second year. I was finishing up my AA at a community college in Coalinga, and I didn't apply anywhere else. And then a couple days before I was supposed to fly out to the Naval Academy, they said, hey, you know what? You're still welcome to come out, but we're not going to let you in.
Oh, wow. Bummer.
I know. They told me I was
You must have been devastated.
super disappointed.
Did they say why?
I was too old. They said I was too old. I think I was 20 at the time. So they said I was too old. And
too old? I'm 20 years old.
That's what I thought. That's what my dad was like, well, gosh, sheesh. The old man, you got 9 toes in the grave at 20. So anyway, so now I was panicked, and I was like, where am I going to apply? There's no other schools. And the president of the community college, Willard Llewellyn, I'll never forget the guy's name, Willard Llewellyn, said, hey, there's two places that are still accepting students. I'll write you a letter, and I'll see if we can get you past the technical deadline. And one of them was Stanislaus, CSU Stanislaus, and the other one was Bakersfield. And when I was running the numbers and seeing, which would be more affordable, Bakersfield was like cheaper by like $40.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really close. And so I was like, well, let's go to Bakersfield. And so anyways, I was going to college in Bakersfield, and that's where I met Valerie.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, we totally sidetracked there.
I know.
Talking about the vacation of a lifetime, the trip of a lifetime. Tell me about it.
So this story actually starts back in 2007. Billy Joel was touring, so I was still living in Coalinga, and my sister was still in high school. And this... I'm a big Billy Joel fan, and she was too, and he was coming to the Save Mart Center in Fresno. And so I was like, hey, I call her Ash. She's like, hey, Ash, how about we go? And so we went, and we had a fantastic time. He was incredible, and it's just a special memory we shared. And then recently Billy announced that he's been playing Madison Square Garden every single month for like the past 10 years. Every single month. There was a hiccup during COVID, like they had to take a break for a while there. But aside from the COVID thing, every single month for the past 10 years. And so he's announcing that June was going to be his last month. And so I said, hey, you know what? Actually, my sister reached out and said, hey, how about we go to one of these last shows? And so I said, absolutely. So we hopped on a plane. We flew out. It was his 75th birthday.
Oh, it was Billy Joel's 75th birthday?
Billy Joel's 75th birthday on the day of the concert. We didn't know this when we booked the tickets. And he's just talking, and he's just so thankful and grateful about the life that he's lived.
Had you ever seen Billy Joel at the Madison Square Garden?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'd never been to Madison Square Garden. I didn't even know anything was did there except the Knicks played,
Right.
So he's just telling all these stories about how wonderful his life has been, how grateful he is. And later on, I learned that in 1970, before he made it big, so I guess he really made it big in like 74, 76, somewhere around there. So in 1970, he actually drank a bottle of furniture polish to commit suicide.
Well, I've never heard anybody attempting suicide that way.
Well, I think
there's lots of different ways. Drinking a bottle of furniture polish. I mean, did he really think that was the way to go?
I don't know. But he said
so
I think he said he farted furniture polish, and that was about it. And he said the reason why he drank furniture polish was it looked tastier than bleach. And so,
wow.
But anyways, the point is if he had been successful, look at all of the lives that he's touched,
sure,
at the incredible life he's lived, the incredible career he's had. That would all have never happened if he'd either given up or died.
Right. Did he talk about why he wanted to commit suicide?
No, so he didn't even talk about this, and it was very happy, and it was his birthday.
Sure.
But my sister Ashley was actually telling me about this story. And it's just crazy to see like the life arc, the arc of somebody's career or life. And the reason why what does this have to do with real estate is there's a lot. It's a really challenging time to be a real estate agent right now. One of the toughest times, arguably, in the last 40 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Even more so than 2008 or?
Yeah. The reason why is because at least some sales were taking place. Like there were more sales taking place in the downturn than there are now. So every single time a sale takes place, that's essentially an opportunity for a realtor to be paid. But there's so few sales taking place, and there's so many real estate agents compared to 2008.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
That there's just so few paychecks happening, and then so it's just really, really hard. And so there are people who got in the industry. I got in it in 2015, so I'm relatively new compared to some people who've been doing this 20, 30. Tom Dave started in 77,
right.
And so relatively new. But there are some people who got started in like 2020, 2021, and the market was very, very forgiving at that time for a real estate agent. And so it's just interesting if all you experienced was the good times and now you're in one of the hardest times ever. That's a very stark contrast to be living through. And if this is how you provide for your family, like there is no plan B, you're all in on this. It's just a really challenging time to be in real estate. Some of the best, I think, technically speaking, as far as their grasp of the contracts and as far as their grasp of inner client relationships, some of the best agents I know personally are struggling because there's just so few opportunities. But don't drink the furniture polish.
Right. So what would be your encouragement? What do you take out of Billy Joel's story that should be inspiring or at least encouraging to those who are struggling right now? Maybe they're thinking about switching industries and going and doing something else. So
what I would do is, what my takeaway from that, because I'm not going anywhere. I have no intention of changing careers at all. So my takeaway from the Billy Joel story was, hey, just don't drink the furniture polish. Just keep going. If you're in the game, just stay in the game and just keep pushing. And eventually things will get better. You'll figure something out. Something will shake free and it'll improve. But if you're in the industry and you're like, I don't know if this is for me, if you're not 110% committed to succeeding in this industry, then what I would suggest you do is you make a list of pros and cons. Hey, here's what I want out of life. Here's what I don't want to have happen at the end of my life. And then just see if real estate checks those boxes. Because if you're not 100% in, if you have a plan B, if you have a backup plan, if I'll go back to this job, or I'll watch the kids, or I can go back to school and get a degree in something. If you have that mentality, you are not going to succeed because it's just so brutal right now. And that's what makes your team, the Made for More Living team, different than a lot of other folks that are out there is you only bring on those that are passionate, that are 100% in, because you know that your strategies and what you do works, but you got to have someone who's all in and not just playing around. It's not a hobby for them. Correct. I always ask them, what's your plan B? And if they have a plan B, I know they're not going to make it. And so if you're listening to the podcast, or listening to the show, then you know the answer to that question. But for example, I was just recently interviewing two people, and both of them did not sound all in. They had these degrees. They had they did big things back in 2020 or 2019, but they haven't sold a house since. And I'm like, nah, you're not. I'm not telling them no, don't join the team. I'm trying to be polite, but I'm not. They are not joining the team. Right. I'm trying to look for other avenues to help them if they're looking to grow their real estate career. Because that's the cool thing about where we're at. It is not all in on one thing. You can either join the team. You can be a solo agent. There's all these different options within the brokerage that we operate at EXP for an agent to find their place. Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I know that that's important because it's not just about having a great team. It's important to have a great team so that you can overserve your clients, those that are selling their home, those that are buying their home. You want a hungry agent. You want an agent that's going to hyper serve the families out there, because this is a big deal. You don't want to have somebody that's trying to help a family find their permanent home, and someone's doing it as a hobby or on their free time. You want someone that's going to be 100% dedicated to helping those families. 100% dedicated and has a track record of success. Yeah. Like, why would you go to a surgeon who just got, I don't know what it is, completed residency. They're new in this career, and you're gonna, okay, yeah, I'll use you because you might have a cheaper rate, but hopefully it all work. Hopefully I wake up.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on the current climate we're in now, because I've always heard, after the Super Bowl, things start to heat up. Things start to pop in as far as the real estate market. Is that still true this year? I'm sure, obviously, it's a little bit cooler, but is it still... Are we still seeing a season that's, moving homes a little bit faster during this season, spring, summer?
Yeah, so I would say it has picked up since the winter, but for seasonally where we're at right now, there's still very few transactions taking place. Now, are homes selling? Absolutely. Homes are selling, and they're selling for 100, 101%, 102% of what they're listed at. So they're getting at or above list price in many different zip codes. But if you're overpriced, that sucker is sitting. There are no buyers out there who are looking to overpay for a home right now. They're looking for the best deal because interest rates, unfortunately, also went up around the Super Bowl, and we're starting to see some flexibility there. They're starting to come down a little bit. I don't know if they're going to continue to come down. It really depends on inflation.
So I'm curious what your conversations are with those homeowners who obviously they've got a lot of emotion tied into their home that they've had for 15, 20 years, right? And they want obviously to get the most for it. You're sitting in their living room, or maybe it's a phone call in your office or something like that, and you're having these conversations, and they want to get the maximum dollar for their home. And obviously they want to price it, really high. And in your mind, there's, that's not going to be what's best. What's that conversation like with those homeowners where it's almost like an emotional conversation? Yeah,
it's very emotional because you got to think of it from their perspective. When's the last time they sold a house?
Right.
It might have been 5 years, 7 years, 20 years.
Right.
I'm speaking, we have a person we're working with right now. He's selling his dad's house. His dad bought the house brand new in 1962 or 64.
Wow.
And he's never sold a home himself personally. And so this is a very scary thing because they haven't done it frequently. Like, think about the first time you do anything. You go to a new church or you drive to your new job. It's scary. There's butterflies. But then after you've done it 5, 10, 15 times, the butterflies go away.
Right.
But so for them, they're still filled with these butterflies. And so one, coming at it from a place of empathy and understanding where they're at, meeting them where they're at, and then just explaining, hey, like, this is not the first time we've done this. In fact, we've probably sold, given it on any time of the month, like 10, 15, 20 homes that month. And so this is something we do on a regular basis. We're good at what we do. And this is where we see most people have success. At the end of the day, it's the seller's house. I tell this to them all the time. Hey, it's your house, your rules.
Right.
I'm here to advise you, but it's up to you whether or not to take my advice.
That's good. I love that. Yeah. I mean, it is all about a personal relationship. It's not just cold money, facts, and numbers. It's a relationship. Yeah. And I love that that's what you guys are about at Made for More. That's why you created this company. That's cool. So if somebody's thinking about selling their home, or maybe they're thinking about buying a home before this summer, how should they get a hold of you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can just Google us. You can Google Made for More. You can Google Tom Dave's Made for More, or you can go to madeformoreliving.com. It's spelled madeformoreliving.com.
Got to read you this text we got from Cameron. She said this about working with our friend Johnny Jennings and the Tom Dave's real estate team. She said, "You and your team were fantastic!" Exclamation point. "Without you and your team, I truly believe the house would still be on the market. When issues came up, such as the washer and dryer, you made it a point to fix the issue, and your generosity will not be forgotten. I will recommend you and your team to anyone that I know that is selling or buying a home because I know you are the best." And again, that's a text from Cameron, who worked with Johnny Jennings and the Tom Dave's real estate team to sell her home.
And that's why if you're going to be doing something really big like selling a house that's complicated, you want the best, which is Johnny Jennings and the Tom Dave's real estate team. So if you're looking to sell your home and maybe you'd like to get the idea of what it's worth, or maybe just a cash offer and be done, reach out to Johnny and Tom with Made for More at tomdaves.com, or just Google Tom Dave's Made for More. And remember, you get more with Made for More. License number 581837.